How long does it take to get every single Pokemon in the generation they were released in? That is a question I want to answer as I complete my Living Dex. And today, we're going to play the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance generations. First, let's set the ground rules. I need to capture every Pokemon. I need to capture every boxable form, unknown and Deoxys count, whereas cast form does not. Use legitimate or as legitimate methods as possible. Glitches count, and so do emulated events. Now, let's get into it. I played Pokemon Yellow as my main game, and started this journey with Pikachu. 1 down, 1,000 to go. It's day 1, and we already have 11. Day 2, and I'm at 17. Almost through Mount Moon. We are going to get the Dome Fossil, because you can actually get Omnite using the Trainer Fly Glitch. Day 3, 35. I used the Trainer Fly Glitch, aka the Mew Glitch, to get all the version exclusives pretty much. Arbok, Weezing, Electabuzz, Omnite, Hitmonlee, Meowth, Jinx, and Raikou. I even used it for the harder to catch Safari Zone encounters like Chansey and Dratini. This didn't stop the need to counter some Pokemon in Red and Blue, so I had to play all the way through to Viridian Forest and catch a bunch of Weedle. We're at day 4, 68. So we're over a third of the way there. We're at day 5, 91. Today is going to be a good day because we're going to do all of the story stuff and then clear up all the Pokemon. Day 6, we beat the game and we have 130 Pokemon. Just need to do the branded ones, and we need to do some evolving and catch some legendaries. Even though we had Mew on our team as the main Pokemon that we're using to fight trainers, it can never be transferred up to Bank. Game Freak has set a lock that only Mew with a specific original trainer and trainer ID were allowed to be transferred. And unfortunately, this Mew was an event exclusive to the UK and Japan. Fortunately, the program that they used for that event has leaked to the public and is obtainable under the right conditions. The Mew Trading app, as it's called, seems like a normal copy of Pokemon Red. However, this version allows for save states, and these save states are how they actually distributed this event. Take a look.
Where do you get these Mews from? Basically, we have a reset at the save point. So after each trade, we just reset and we have a brand new Mew.
So pop that on my other capture card, and on yellow, get a Pokemon for trade fodder, and boom, we officially got the 151st Pokemon, Mew. Yellow clocked in at 19 hours and 6 minutes. Crystal was surprisingly next for 4 hours and 25 minutes, all of it breeding duplicates or pre-evolutions. Red took only 12 minutes. And finally, the Mew Trading app only took 2 minutes. So with that, to catch all 151 Kanto Pokemon, it only took 23 hours and 45 minutes. I used Pokemon Silver to capture the few Gold and Silver exclusive encounters, Mareep, Girafarig, and Remoraid, and used Gold to get the 3rd starter. Only problem is that Remoraid is found with the Super Rod, which is all the way in Kanto. So Silver has to get past the credits, but so does Crystal in order to get the GS Ball for Celebi. Not much can be said about Gen 2, as there's not really that many fun little things. I did get this, though. And for the swarm encounters, I used the Daylight Savings exploit, encountered Celebi, because I'm using the Crystal Virtual Console edition. And I unlocked and caught all 26 unknown. Pokemon Silver took 18 hours and 46 minutes, mostly to get to the post-game for Emerald, and Crystal took 33 hours and 49 minutes. So, to catch all 100 Johto Pokemon, as well as the extra 25 unknown forms, it took 2 days, 4 hours, and 35 minutes. I started my Gen 3 adventure going through Leaf Green. We needed a couple encounters here, namely Deoxys and the 2 unknown forms introduced in these games. We beat the game and got the National Dex. We had to obtain a ruby for Celio. For Celio? Celio? Celio. Then headed over to Birth Island and caught Deoxys after a very heated battle. Then I spent literal hours in the Tanubi ruins in order to find these unknown, which are both 1% encounters. No joke, Leaf Green clocked in at 11 hours and 19 minutes. I was at the Tanubi Key at hour 8 and 46 minutes, meaning I spent 2.5 hours hunting down 2 forms of a Pokemon I've already caught. Well, at least they aren't version exclusive, so I can get both in one game and move on to the actual... Wait. In Gen 3, Deoxys' forms are based on the game that's in. And Fire Red and Leaf Green have 2 separate forms. Okay, that's fine. I can just get the Mystic ticket, play through Vermilion, then hop on the... Okay, maybe I have to visit the Sevii Islands first. So I have to play until I beat Blaine. Beat the champion? Oh my god. Kanto Remake's got a Kanto Remake, I guess. And I need the National Dex. And get the Rainbow Pass, meaning I have to get another Ruby for the same guy, then I can finally get Attack Form Deoxys. Now, you might be wondering how I got this event. After losing my childhood copy of Emerald, I ordered a replacement copy online, and wouldn't you know, it was fake. Luckily, with things like the GB operator, it's a lot easier to write over bootleg copies of GBA games nowadays. And yeah, there's actually a way where you can turn it into a distribution cartridge. But enough about all that, let's actually get on to the Hoenn region in Gen 3. You start off with Sapphire, who grabs Torchic, then fights Mate and obtains the Pokedex. Something must have heard our cry to complete the dex, because before you know it, a Jirachi appeared in our party. This was actually done with a very expensive copy of Coliseum Bonus Disc. After Slateport, I get a Plusle, and after getting to Mauville, I went to go get Volbeat, but instead... we got the 1% Surskit before Volbeat. We got a Lunatone at Meteor Falls. At Mount Pyre, we get a Meditite. There's one last Pokemon we need to get in Sapphire. Deoxys. But wait, you can't encounter Deoxys in Ruby and Sapphire. Or can you? I mostly made custom events for Ruby and Sapphire that are inspired by the events you see in Emerald. These events are also set to show as legitimate encounters, and I thought this would be a really cool thing to show off instead of playing Fire Red or Leaf Green a second time for Deoxys. Now on to Ruby, where we get Trico as our starter. I also got Seedot at 103, Mawile in the Granite Cave, Roselia at 117, Zangoose on 114 with its cool purple claws, and Milotic. Yeah, I found out that people have recreated the Pokemon Center Gotta Catch 'em All station events, and Milotic was one of those Pokemon. Finally, onto my favorite game of this gen, and my first Pokemon game ever, Pokemon Emerald. And I choose my first starter, Mudkip. Capture all the Pokemon we can, and unlock and capture all the Reggies for taking on the champion. After we beat Wallace, we hear about a roaming red Pokemon, and we make our way to Cycling Road. And we find Latias and Master Ball it. We also get Kyogre and Groudon after talking to the scientists in the Weather Institute. Then we go to Sky Pillar, and after attempts to get to the top, we reach Rayquaza, and we caught it. We also used the mystery gift event to get Latios in our final Deoxys. At Steven's house, we find a Beldum. We spend 38 minutes hatching eggs and evolving some Pokemon. And after all that's said and done, we have all but one Pokemon left. And that is Mudkip. Yeah, the last Pokemon for this part was my first Pokemon. That wasn't out of any kind of coincidence, yeah. No, I specifically did that on purpose and didn't forget that I needed Mudkip because I evolved mine. And I evolved the other one into Marshtomp. No, that was done as symbolism. After everything is said and done, Emerald is finished. And after 28 hours and 38 minutes, Leaf Green took 11 hours and 19 minutes. Fire Red took 8 hours and 35 minutes. Sapphire took 7 hours and 8 minutes. And Ruby took 3 hours and 34 minutes. So, to catch all 140 Pokemon, as well as the 2 new unknown forms and all of the Deoxys forms, it took a grand total of 2 days, 11 hours, and 14 minutes. So, how did we do? To catch every Pokemon in Kanto, Johto, and Hoenn, it took 5 days, 15 hours, and 34 minutes. So for every hour, we caught about 6.34 Pokemon in Gen 1, 2.49 Pokemon in Gen 2, and 2.76 Pokemon in Gen 3. Definitely the hardest Pokemon to obtain were the unknown forms, specifically the question mark and exclamation point. And this is just due to them both being 1% encounters, as well as being at the end game of Fire Red and Leaf Green. And we got a grand total of 3 shiny Pokemon. Granted, 2 were part of the Lake of Rage event. We needed 9 total games, as well as the Mew trading app, Coliseum bonus disc, e-reader, and a few event distributions. And finally, as far as the hardware goes, we needed 2 3DSs, 2 Game Boy Advances, specifically I used SPs, a Wii, as well as a Game Boy Advance link cable and a GameCube to GBA cable as well. We are over 300 down and nearly 700 more to go. So join me next time as we go through the DS era of Pokemon games, as well as what we have to do to transfer all of these Pokemon up. Thanks.